right, testing. All right, that works. All right.
Make sure they hear it on the Zoom.
All right, let's see. Can you guys hear anything now over here on the Zoom? All right, says works fine. Cool. All right,
Hey, everyone.
we can go.
Welcome to Web3, our career transition conference #3.
Yeah.
Eric Force.
And I'm Albert Chen.
And we have been releasing these conferences now every 3 or 4 months.
Yep.
To help job seekers and hiring managers sort of navigate this new world of AI, new technology, the job placement, but also most important opportunity that AI and Web3 are opening up for people. So we like to bring together people from our network who are really leading at the forefront of new technologies, very specific to HR technology, to recruitment, and to job seeking, and also job satisfaction. How can you find your highest value and the things that you have to give to the world? And that's some of what we're going to be looking at tonight as well.
Yeah, and we are thrilled that you have decided to spend your Wednesday evening with us. And yeah, are there any housekeeping items that we want to take care of before we get started here? We got food over there, restrooms.
Special thanks to our sponsors, Collins.ai and Merit America.
Yep.
Please take a look at the Collins demo out of the Activator. I've had a chance to see it. They're doing some very innovative stuff with AI and helping match better jobs to your resume. So I guess.
All right. Yeah, so the first session that we have today, we're going to be talking about Web3 and job boards. And we're going to start here with Eric and Dennis. So that Zoom people can hear us.
Okay, can they hear me now? Okay, so so hopefully this one works on Zoom. So so we have, great, hopefully that fixes the feedback. So we have goals, we have description of the city. You can click on events and find things like the San Francisco Independent Film Festival. You can find other information related to the film festival. You can look and see how did that information get there. It was published by Yaniv Tal with a few edits over the last few months. You can look at places. So if I'm looking in the places menu, I can then zoom in on coffee shops, look at Four Barrel Coffee, see what they have to offer. They have a whole variety of amenities and attributes. I like the fact that they have outdoor seating, and now I'm able to find easily some other coffee shops that also have outdoor seating. Maybe the Mill might be a better one that I'm interested in. So this is what Geo is doing, is just making a better web browsing experience. That's why we call it Geo Browser, really a better way to organize information. And so you might be wondering, well, what does this have to do with jobs? So one of the things I love about Geo is the way that they've allowed you to create a personal space that's kind of unlimited. Who here had a MySpace page 20 years ago? All right. So for those of us who are MySpace people, you're going to love the Geo Browser profile. It really lets you kind of create a very creative wall or experience that represents you. And I had a lot of fun putting my personal space together in Geo. So I was able to talk about my goals rather than just LinkedIn, which is very constrained. You can just kind of put, some posts and you can put your resume, but this is sort of like, who am I? What do I want to share with the world? So one of my goals is ending homelessness in San Francisco, which is how I sort of got involved in this event. We have a group of DAOs here that we collectively call We Heart SF that we've been running as part of the Geo Wednesday lunch series. Some of you may have been to our Wednesday lunches, which are now the first Wednesday of every month, right here in this room from 12 to 1:30. And We Heart SF has been using decentralized autonomous organizations, which is what a DAO is, to look at how we can provide better information around all of the nonprofits and the services for homeless people. And in that project, I've been running something called the Workforce Development DAO, because I have a background in HR technology and running marketing for staffing companies. And so I thought, I can help in that area, which led to creating these conferences that we're having here. So that's one of my goals. Another one is helping creators thrive, restoring trust in media. And so my startups, my projects are related to those goals. So I have Bloxy, which is a blockchain project that helps creators monetize their work. Kea AI project that I've co-founded that helps deliver more truthful and accurate information with web searches and with AI. We Heart SF, I mentioned, is our umbrella over the Workforce Development DAO. I also have causes that I care about. So these are some of my favorite nonprofits. Open Door Legal, I became aware of through the We Heart SF project. They do amazing work giving free civil legal help to people in need who need it. We're one of the only countries in the world that doesn't provide a public defender for a civil case. We provide it for criminal cases, but not civil. So Adrian fills that gap that almost every other person in the world gets advantage to, but not Americans. And that also has a huge impact on the homeless issue because you get a lot of people who didn't have civil representation, but they lost their house, or they didn't have civil representation and they lost in a domestic dispute, and then they become homeless. So Adrian is amazing, the work he does in solving homelessness. And then I've got links to some YouTube videos and presentations I've given, a recent blog post, and I even put up a Spotify playlist. So you can have fun with your profile, kind of like we used to in MySpace. We don't have wild wallpaper backgrounds yet in Geo. I kind of like the white, simple one, but maybe it'll go full MySpace someday and you can customize the background. But you can also see that I've got skills here listed. So this is where it starts to kind of get into the LinkedIn world. And so I can click on marketing and I can see that, hey, there's a whole bunch of job openings for marketing. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Dennis, who has sort of brought to life this vision of what does a job search look like and how can we connect job seekers and employers in a Web3 environment. So I'll hand it over to Dennis. Oh, yeah.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Dennis. I'm the software developer behind our initiative to bring the traditional job information on Web 2 onto Web 3. So the advances of the knowledge graph and GeoBrowser have really enabled us to, I think, transform the space and have the opportunity to build a product that can greatly enhance job searching and the overall job experience. So let me show my profile, for example. It's pretty basic, more simpler than Eric's, but one thing that I'd like to point out is the skills here at the bottom of the page. So one thing that the Ontology allows us to do is to connect different entities or different things together based on different qualities that they share. So I've put TypeScript as one of my skills in my profile. And when I click more to learn about the skill of TypeScript, I can see the entities or the things that reference it. And well, what do you know? There's a lot of jobs. This kind of makes up our efforts to bring jobs onto GeoBrowser. And this shows the interconnectedness or like the value that the interconnected structure brings. We can easily find jobs based on skills that I have put into my profile and the skills that jobs have on their page. For instance, we can see this job also has many more skills other than TypeScript. And of course, all the other usual information that we can expect. Now, this information is concentrated on the San Francisco space. So you can actually just access it straight from the home page. And if you go to jobs, and this is really the core of the user interface to the job board. This is where our data collection tools will search the internet for jobs using many different providers such as Glassdoor, Indeed, or LinkedIn, and then cross-reference and validate the results and upload them in a format that's easily accessible and easily usable for the end users. So here's some examples, as you can see. We have all of the data that I expect. And what's even better is that this is all the data pretty much that you can get for the job. And as this program will continue to evolve, more and more data will be coming for each job. The kind of the density of the information will increase. So how does this directly help job seekers, for example? So the primary benefit that knowledge graphs bring, or I guess one of the primary benefits, but the one that is particularly applicable here, is transparency and verifiability. So the information that's collected here is cross-validated from different sources across the internet. So you know that what's displayed on this page is consistent across what you might find in traditional sources. And furthermore, with additional developments in GeoBrowser, there will be a community discussion around different pages, kind of almost like comments that you can add. So around different discussions, for examples, or even companies, different users can make comments or post reviews about their experience with the job or the job seeking process with this particular company. And of course, this helps ensure transparency and verifiability across finding jobs, since this has been somewhat of a problem with traditional providers, which can sometimes, where companies can ask job hosting sites to boost their reviews artificially, or maybe to not show negative reviews. But this space ensures that it's completely fair and equitable for all of those involved. Since it's a decentralized format, anyone can contribute equally, and there's no one company that can overwrite anything else. And furthermore, the information that we have here, it's complete and up to date. So we're constantly developing this platform, soon to be a real-time and complete solution, whereas you don't need to be monitoring several different platforms at once to find out which jobs are changing or maybe which new jobs are being added. But as we'll have the capability to get information from different sources, the jobs here will be updating in real time from a vast repository of information on the internet. So this really is the complete overall solution. And finally, one of the powerful things about GeoBrowser and how it's built is that we can have, it allows users to see the revision history. So this is especially critical for transparency for companies that are posting jobs, because sometimes they can ghost job seekers, or they can manipulate their own job postings for whatever that may be. And this and this does not reflect on the job postings. So job seekers, it can be a challenge for them to, kind of understand what's happening. But with GeoBrowser and with the revision history, essentially, job seekers can see how the posts are changing over time, if they're getting filled, how many people, are applying eventually once we have native job applications within Geo. And one more thing that I'd like to mention is that in addition to all of this, there's also an advanced search, function that's going to be coming in Geo soon. So right now, entities are primarily searched by the name in GeoBrowser, but soon you'll be able to search through job postings based on all of their attributes. This, of course, provides a significant advantage because not only do you get complete information from various sources online, but you can also put granular controls on which jobs you specifically want. And as new jobs are coming in from our data collection tools, you'll automatically see it, for example, on your home page or your personal page, if you choose to set it up that way. So once again, here, for example, I can show jobs that are related to the skill of TypeScript, and as more jobs get added, they'll automatically be displayed on this page. So it's almost like a personal feed. And then, of course, with more customization features that will come later, such as salary ranges or how recently the job was published, this will allow you for more personalization, and ultimately helping you find a better match.
Thank you, Dennis. That was amazing. I'm really grateful for the work you did on the Web3 job board. And this is really just the MVP, the minimum viable product. And stay tuned. A lot more is coming with GeoBrowser and the Web3 job boards. Thank you, Dennis. So, all right. If anyone wants to connect with me, you can scan my QR code here. That has my contact information, my LinkedIn. And I'd like to introduce to you Natalia Bielchik. Natalia is a PhD in neuroscience who decided that she wanted to spend her time helping people find jobs and helping people find meaning in their life. The Ontology of Value is an incredible system. It is a new self-assessment test. How many people have taken Myers-Briggs? How about Clifton Strengths Finder? Okay, if you like those types of tests, I think you're going to love Ontology of Value. It really brings a whole new dimension to those self-assessments. It's not an either or. It's just a really different way of kind of understanding the contributions that you can bring to the world and what gets you excited to get up and go to work every day. So without further ado, Natalia.
Thank you so much. Okay. Oops. I feel like I have my own electromagnetic field because every time I'm even close to presenting set, something has to go wrong. I don't touch anything yet. Okay. Okay, well, I guess this is how it's gonna look. Never mind. Okay, so before I start, I'd like to give you some incentive to be active during this presentation. So I have this one-of-a-kind cup, my own design, very proud of it. And so, yeah, I'll just give it out to whoever has an interesting question or an interesting comment during the talk. Or you are also authorized to offend me. If you offend me in a creative way, you can also win a cup. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so let's start from this talk from just a general comment. As we all know, AI does not leave the job market untouched, right? It does disrupt the job market, like that's unquestionable at this point. And AI mostly eliminates so-called, just simple office jobs. So those jobs that are like, when we think about the whole spectrum of possible professions or jobs, it basically mostly disrupts the jobs that are like not as advanced intellectually, right? Not at the expert level, but also not the physical job. So somewhere in between. So those most repetitive office jobs. And the jaws are spreading, right? Wider and wider. So it's actually disrupting, increasingly deeper, like disrupting the job market. And another observation is that the job market is global dynamical system. So we are all codependent in a way. And just as a concept, this is just a drawing to just show the concept, like how we are all connected in the job market, like hashtag Alan Watts, like we're all dependent, so we are all connected by law, by tax system, by contracts, right, by employee-employer relations, by provider-client relations. And so if there is a part of the job market that is disrupted by AI, we all feel it, right? There is a ripple effect, butterfly effect, we all feel the consequences. And now, when we disrupt any dynamical system, there are only two scenarios possible. Scenario one, the system goes back to the original state. And scenario two, there is a state transition. So the whole system lands in a completely new global state. So there is like a global shift in the dynamics and that it changes forever. And we already did witness one big shift in a job market during the Industrial Revolution. And so, like before the Industrial Revolution, we used to just use our muscles to do work. Like most people were working in physical professions. But Industrial Revolution brought us a range of new technologies and new discoveries, a new range of machines that automated work. And basically it resulted in a global shift and the birth of the whole new class of jobs, intellectual jobs, right? That when we use our brains to work. And the question is, what about AI revolution? Is it like Industrial Revolution? Are we going toward a new state of balance? Or is it more like internet that, yeah, it does change the job market, of course. There will be some professions that are new. Some professions will be killed, but overall, like there is no like major shift in the dynamics, right? So the question is, what next? So if there is no straight transition, well, then perhaps we have some new classes of jobs. So, well, we used to use our brains to work. Maybe now we have more jobs that are based on compassion, on like real human connection, or maybe we become bionic creatures with some mechanical elements, like AI elements, like connected to our brains, who knows, right? But maybe there's just new jobs, new professions, but overall the dynamic doesn't shift, right? So we still have to work to make a pay, to make a living, and overall, like the rules of the game don't really change. Or perhaps, oh, by the way, there's a question for you here. Is there anyone in the room who knows this turtle? Harriet, she was quite famous, and it's not only because of her age. Yes. We have to wait. We have to wait. Like maybe someone, yeah. If someone can offend me really well, they can still beat you. Okay, yeah, this is true. This is true. So yes, Harriet was Charles Darwin's pet. He found her in the islands of Galapagos. And when he observed her, he noticed that she's not the smartest tool in the box. And she's also not the fastest, and she's not the strongest animal out there, but she found her biological niche, and that was enough to survive, right? So evolution does not necessarily promote only the strongest and the fastest, or the cheapest in that respect, when we talk about AI, but it's a different story. We have to, as humans in the job market, we have to find our biological niche, right? So it doesn't mean like if AI is there, it doesn't mean that we have no more reason to live or like function in the job market. We just have to find a way to coexist with AI. So what if there is a state transition? Well, perhaps we have some form of a universal basic income that is on the table in just a few decades or maybe even few years. And there are multiple ways of implementing UBI. So I don't want to go into that here, but there are many ways of doing that, not just one. But anyways, like there are ways to go about the problem if AI eliminates enough jobs so that there are no more jobs for humans. But the question is, okay, we don't know which scenario plays out, right? We don't know if we have a state transition or if we don't. Like the future will tell. But what do we do, like when we don't know the weather tomorrow? Like, what do we do? What do you usually do when we don't know if it's gonna rain? Yes, bring an umbrella. I showed the slide a few weeks ago in Milpitas, and some people didn't know what this item represents. Yeah, I know, like lucky people. Like, uh, all right. So our umbrella, like knowledge is power. So actually, just talking about knowledge in antiquity, the problem of like what to learn to actually be able to function in the real world was already solved. So the parents of from like rich families, like they didn't teach their kids how to farm or how to ride a horse. They were sending their kids to learn so-called liberal arts. These were all the things necessary to make independent decisions, to become a politician, a researcher, a landowner, someone who takes decisions. And so there were two types of schools. I had nothing to do with each other. And actually, there was an interesting Twitter or X post by Devon Erickson last year that actually who translated those ancient liberal arts into our condition in 2024. And I think it really holds well that today we also have liberal arts, and they are almost the same as they used to be thousands of years ago. And these should be actually the objectives in today's education. And AI should be just used to leverage on those skills. So this should be the target, right, for whatever we learn. And if we keep those goals, educational goals, then we will always be agile enough and competent enough to make ourselves relevant in the job market. Yeah, make yourself relevant. That's the point. So coming back to this picture, well, in case of the rain, so if we still have to grind to survive, well, then this makes us adaptive, right? And in case of the sunshine, when we don't need to work anymore, well, at least we are smarter. So I would say, and more emotionally developed. So I would say it's a win-win. Okay, so just a few words about what I do and what we've built and how we can help you, or I can help you, and how to actually, in practice, how to function well in the job market in 2025. So coming back to this picture, like we live in a very complex environment, right? It's like, this is a toy model, but there's a huge like complexity to the job market. There are so many layers to it. And even the organizations in 2025, like they are not, even so-called traditional corporations are not just corporations anymore. They are actually clusters of different organizational cultures. And actually, in Ontology of Value, we basically we built a model based on 8 pillars, 8 different types of organizations that are more like archetypical organizations. And in fact, most environments today are just clusters of microcultures that are like combinations of those. And so they are actually a combination of different departments and even teams that have their own original, unique cultures that are somewhat, can be represented by combinations of those. And we also have 8 different types of building values in teams. and getting motivated in professional lives. And so each one of us has our own motivational structure, and we have our own unique ways of positioning ourselves on teams. And these also are 8 archetypes, and we are all like different combinations of these archetypes. And this is actually a model that is inspired by Alfred Adler's School of Psychology, that is not as well known. Anyways, so like as a summary, we are like all like have a combination of roles that we could potentially play on teams, given our unique personalities, working style, values, etc. And we have different work cultures, and we also have some natural capabilities of functioning in these different environments to different extent. So we built a test that is actually helping the user to actually position themselves in the job market. So first level of description is what you can see in your CV, right? This is something that is explicitly said in your CV. All the skills you have, all the projects you develop, this is something you know about yourself. But these 2 higher levels, higher levels, so level of teams and level of work environments, they are latent, right? And so you might not know your potential on those on those 2 higher levels. So what we built is a test that is based on 4 pillars, 4 types of variables on your natural working style, type of stress and resilience to type of mind, resilience to stress, and the way you naturally build relations with people, and your values and beliefs. And what it gives you is like a cheat sheet that shows you 2 rankings, and in percentiles shows you what's your fit to every given role and every given work environment. And percentiles are nice because they show you how you fit compared to the population of people we had in our study. So it not only shows you your personal ranking, but it also shows you if you're objectively fit or not. So it's like a cheat sheet to see where you have competitive advantage and where you don't. And I have a few gifts. Everyone likes gifts, right? Okay, I think there was only one person who actually spoke up, so I think this is a Valcover, right? Okay, this is yours. There you go. Okay, that was quick. At least one decision less to make. Okay, so I have a voucher for the test. So whoever is in the room, you can take the test. You have 7 days to use this voucher. This is for your own benefit, because if there is no deadline, nobody ever does it. So I just help you help yourself. Okay, yeah. So that's one. Secondly, we also have I'm actually organizing a little countercultural event. I couldn't help myself. I'm a bootstrapper, so I could not do it anywhere else but in San Francisco, where bootstrappers are basically like unicorns in another sense. So you're welcome to join us if you'd like to learn about bootstrapping or share your own bootstrapping journey and tips and tricks for other bootstrappers. And also, one thing, I just learned that there is one very special event in the city. So there is this flower. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sure. And so there is this flower, like they call it the corpse flower because it smells a very particular way. And like these flowers are so rare, they have their own names. And there is one flower called Chanel. I think it's a tongue-in-cheek way to say that it's really smelly. And it's going to bloom this week. So, and it only blooms once every 7 years. Yeah. And my friend Nicole on this photo here, who is a burner, and she knows all kinds of trivia like this. She actually invited me to come see it on Saturday. So if you want to join us, just drop me an email and let's go see it. Like this is one thing AI cannot do. It cannot stink. So let's go and enjoy. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, this is like once in a 7-year opportunity. Don't wait. Yes. Yeah. Let's go do an after party. Yes, we should do it. No, seriously. Okay. Wow. Now I started getting a rush. Okay. Well, I mean, my job at this event is done. I can actually go. So, oh, sorry. All right. Yeah. Somebody else? Now you have 7 days minus 5 minutes. So, okay. No, this is serious. Just catch the day, right? Depends how well you know yourself, because there is no time limit on the questions. And there are some people who deliberately take more time because they treat it as like quality time. Like so far, I think the record was 8 hours. Yes, it's meant to be like 1 hour give or take, but somebody took 8 hours because questions were interesting. So she said, "Well, I just took my time." And also one thing, talking about the future of work, Geraldine, Geraldine, please can you? She's also a speaker here, so she will be here in shortly. But we organized the speech night together. Actually, we did. Actually, Garrett Rice, one of the sponsors. Where are you, Garrett? He won at the first edition. He's a great presenter, great project. So Garrett and his project, Calling AI, they won the first edition in April. We are casting second edition in August. So if you'd like to come join us as a presenter or as an investor or as just a guest, you're welcome. And there was a book giveaway, but everything went out before I even managed to say anything about it. So, well, whatever. Okay, and that's, let me just end with my favorite quote from the Dalai Lama, who likes to say, "Be kind when possible, it's always possible." Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. That was great. And the test is amazing. I spent about 2 hours taking the test. It took me really like 3 different sessions. I needed a break. It really makes you think deeply about what you value and what you want out of your life. So I highly recommend taking the test. The result I got is that I'm a creator who should work in entrepreneurship, which was 100% true. Why bother? But no, it's great to read the book and to read the text behind it, the thought behind it. It's a wonderful self-assessment. I highly recommend it. So without further ado, I'm very excited to introduce Irene Nexica to you. Irene has been a recruiter for over 20 years. She's one of the eminent experts in this space. Without further ado, Irene Nexica.
Eric is very flattering, but I can't have been a recruiter for 20 years. I'm only 21. Hello, everybody. This is me. I'm Irene. Oh, hello. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, everybody. So yeah, I'm presenting on some recruiting resources, what job seekers need to know. We just had the super high level. We're going to take it down a level to some practical tips, and it's going to lead really nicely into Albert and Eric's presentation. Just if you want to know a little bit about me, I've been a university instructor, done a lot of nonprofit work, pivoted from there into recruiting for big tech and startups, currently working as a career coach as a job, and then I have my own career coach practice, and then I also do freelance full cycle recruiting. So that's just to put me in a little bit of a context where I'm coming from. I am likely expressing opinions in this presentation, some of them as if they are fact, but anybody's facts are generally opinions. There's not too much that's objectively true in this world. So for this session, I'm going to offer some job transition resources. I'm going to talk a little bit about configuring your skill sets for a career transition. Going to talk a little bit about ways to incorporate AI productively in your job search strategy. And then I pray to God we have time for a Q&A. If there is no time for a Q&A, just come bomb me and I'll try to be coherent as I share any wisdom I may have left over. So yeah, making a job transition. Just wanted to share a couple resources with you. This one, these basically, they come from the Department of Labor, Employment and Training. And they distill a lot of, you can look these up yourself, the data that they're pulling, and they're these horrible Excel spreadsheets. And you will, if you can decipher them, God bless you, please tell me how. I've never been able to do that. So I'm going to attempt to take you to a link just to kind of show you what these look like. So this is ONET Online. And then if you look, so we have Bright Outlook Career Clusters. Oh, Bright Outlook Career Clusters. Can you tell this isn't my job? It's talking into a mic. And job families. And I'm just going to focus on those. So Bright Outlook occupations are ones that are expected to grow rapidly in the near future. So if you're interested in seeing, because you're trying to do a career pivot, this will show you some data of new and emerging occupations. Career clusters are occupations in the same field of work that have similar skills. So if you are interested in exploring that, or you want to see, I know how to do X, what are the other ones I can do? Check it out. Job families are groups of occupations based on work performed or skills or education or training. And then there's this area, I want to be a. So this is useful. These are these profilers, and it kind of follows nicely from the last presentation, where you can kind of, it'll ask you all this stuff. It'll kind of tell you careers that might be good for you based on how you respond. I like to do this. I don't like to do this. So this is just one option for exploring careers as a resource. Hey, all right. And then another one I'll highlight is Career One Stop. I'll take you there just for a little mini second. What I like about this, and this is not the homepage of Career One Stop, I think. I can't remember. No, this is the homepage. But what I want to show you is they have sections specifically for career changers, specifically for 55 and up workers, new graduates, people with disabilities, people who've been justice impacted. So again, this is also based on government data. So ideally, it's presenting real jobs that are really out there and real trends that are really trending. But it's in a really digestible format with lots of tips and tricks, lots of resources, et cetera, et cetera. So just wanted to present these to folks. They're very underutilized. How many of you had heard of one or both of these before tonight? A handful. Yeah, so our taxes have been paying for this for ages and ages and ages, totally available to you. As far as I know, these websites have not been taken down or are not on DOJ's hit list. So please do make use of them. And they will help you out. So those are two skills that, let me see, for Career One Stop, they have a similar thing, My Skills, My Future, that identifies career options based on your current or past skills. I mentioned the self-assessments. Other sources of free help would be the library. And I'm just giving the San Francisco Public Library as an example. I won't go to the webpage unless everybody on earth raises their hands right now, but you can go to the webpage. And the San Francisco Public Library has free events you can go to in person if you're a job seeker. Free events you can go to on Zoom if you're a job seeker. They have e-learning that's free to you, including LinkedIn Learning, and I believe Udemy is also available there for free with your library card. One trick for, I know, isn't it amazing? Our taxes pay for all these things, and so many times they're underutilized. Generally in California, and I just say generally because there may be a case I don't know about, if you live in California, you can get a library card to any library in California. So I have, because I'm a super library geek, like 6 library cards, and I've cataloged everything they have. And so when I want one thing, I go there, and when I want another thing, I go there. So I'm just giving you the San Francisco Public Library as an example, but if everybody here, whether or not you live in the city, wants to get a card, go for it, attend their events, support their events. Yeah, they offer a ton of resources. Thank you. Yeah, I'm actually, if we could hold that for the Q&A, I'm on a little bit of a time schedule and I tend to go way over. So I'm just trying to march through, but I appreciate that resource. Yeah, check it out. The San Francisco Library, but check out a bunch of other libraries and see what resources they have available, see what events they have available. I recently drove all the way down to Santa Clara for free financial coaching. I live 45 minutes away, but hey, it was good. And okay. And then coaching is another resource I want to offer you. So coaching, again, I'm not highlighting everything there is out there. I'm trying to find some of the nuggets that are generally free and generally available to everybody. WIOA, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, it was started by Bill Clinton. It was enhanced by Barack Obama during their presidencies. It's a federal program run through America's Job Center of California. If you're in California, USA, if you earn under $35.11 an hour, you are eligible to sign up and you can get free job coaching for as long as you need to get up and above $35.11 an hour. $35.11 sounds really low in San Francisco, but there are a ton of people in San Francisco County, Alameda County, who make less than that. And if you've been laid off, if you made more than $35.11 an hour, you now do not. So you're eligible to join WIOA as well. And you would do an intake through finding your local America's Job Center of California. And then BrainFuse Job Now is available through many libraries. I'm going to highlight it. San Francisco Public Library offers it. Santa Clara Library offers it. I'm not going to go to the website, but basically BrainFuse is live job search assistance. I checked it out, and I think in Santa Clara Library, you can get it from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. I think 7 days a week. I can't quite remember. Don't hold me to that. But yeah, live job coaching, interview prep, resume writing, resume review for free. And you can look it up by BrainFuse Job Now because a lot of libraries get it. I think San Francisco and Santa Clara, I'm aware of in this area, get it, but I don't have library cards to every city in this area. Dress for Success, they are global, but they have offices in Milpitas locally and San Francisco locally. They're for anyone who identifies as a woman, and they offer amazing job coaching, amazing job events. They have a global online network that you can log into that's kind of like an online platform. If you need interview outfits, they provide free interview outfits, et cetera, et cetera. They're an amazing nonprofit. If you don't need the services of nonprofits like Dress for Success now, I really encourage you to donate because a lot of your neighbors probably do. And then the last one I'll mention that's local is the San Francisco Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, Transgender Center has an employment services office. They have free office hours for 2 hours, I believe, every week. And you can go in. I don't think it's virtual. It used to be virtual, but I believe it's now in person. But again, a great set of resources. They host job fairs there. Boy, I'm talking so fast. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm too excited about all these job resources. So yeah, I just wanted to give you some examples of what's available there at low or no cost. And all of us deserve it. It's paid for by taxes of Americans. And I'm not sure what's left that we get that we paid taxes for. No more opinions. Okay, so what I want to talk about now is incorporating AI into your job search. I know a main focus of tonight is AI. So these are just some options of things you can do with kind of bog standard basic AI. There's actually AI platforms you can subscribe to. JobScan is just the one that's floating to the top of my mind right now. They have a free version, but there's a paid service. But if you take a little time, take one of those free classes with your library card, you can learn how to use AI and build your own GPTs. And you can use them to do things like analyze job descriptions. So to bucket skill sets, to understand exactly what the job description is asking for, even if it's super long, even if it's super poorly written, AI can help you organize it and say, oh, wow, these are actually only 5 skill sets and I have 4 of them, so I'm going to apply. And I'm going to organize my resume and my cover letter better than this job description. So maybe they will hire me just based on that. You can use it to understand a company, so you can research the company, figure out how the role you're applying to will fit in with the company. That's exactly what they want to hear in a job interview, right? Is I understand the problem this role is supposed to solve in this company, and let me articulate to you how I'm going to do that. So a lot of this work people do manually, and I definitely used to do manually. as a coach and as a job seeker, but AI can help you out, and it can surface insights you didn't maybe have access to before that would have taken you forever to do. What else? You can research the interviewers. So I'm a little bit on the fence about this one. I'm not a big fan of bias in interviewing, and researching the interviews is both a great idea, and it is an acknowledgement of how much bias there is in the interview process, that if you mention you went to the same high school as them, or you both like to play hockey, they may be better disposed towards you. I don't have a solution for that at this point. I'm not a fan of it, but researching the interviews can help surface that, and then you can decide how you want to use that. It can help you identify transferable skills. So again, organizing the job description by skills. You can also ask ChatGPT to say, here's my experience. And if you make a custom GPT, it can get to know you very, very well. Here's my experience. Here's a job description. Please show me all of the overlaps. Again, that's something you could do manually, but AI, as I've seen, has surfaced insights that not even the person themselves had thought of. And then you can develop your stories around that and be ready to talk about that in an interview. The other thing it can do is show gaps between the job description and your resume. So that's kind of the flip side of what I just described is, here's my resume, here's the job description. What is not in my resume that the job description mentions? And maybe it's something you actually have done. And when it surfaces that gap, you'll say, oh my God, I totally have read to kids under 5 for more than 30 minutes at a time. Let me put that on the resume and be sure I'm covering, and that now my resume matches 95% of the job description. So those are a few things that AI can do. I realize this is very high level. I'm not showing you how to do them, but I just want to kind of pique your interest if you haven't already considered using AI for your job search. The market right now is very, very tough. Some of my coaching clients work for Amazon and are making $250K, but they hate it there. They don't want to return to the office. They cannot, for love nor money, find another job to switch to. And they're willing to take them. Like, I wish, well, I guess startups, smart startups, no, but like you could get my clients for a fraction of what they're making now. Just don't make them go into the office. But it's a tough market. So every little piece you can do, I think helps. And you don't know what will help until you're in that setting. So here's some examples. Here's something I want to caution you about using AI in your search. And again, I'm both a recruiter and a career coach who works in workforce development. So I understand hiring from the hiring side, the employer side. I understand it from the candidate side. That's the vantage point I'm talking to you about. That's why I kind of switch perspectives as I'm talking. So as a recruiter, I already had the skill, and I've trained myself amazingly in what's called pattern recognition. When you see these statistics, oh my God, a recruiter only looks at my resume for 6 seconds at a time. How can that be fair? I'll tell you, as a pattern recognition expert, I can generally evaluate a resume in 6 seconds. If I, and assuming I'm not really loopy or something like that, I do it pretty darn accurately. And so as a pattern recognition expert, I can now tell, I think with a high degree of accuracy, what has been produced by AI and what has not been. And if you sit in recruiter Discord groups, recruiter Slack channels, a lot of other recruiters feel the same. And your materials pretty much get downgraded if you're using AI, or they get flagged like, we really need to dig into this person's experience in the interview because we're not clear they actually have it because their resume may be AI. So the caution is really, I would say, do not use AI to write your materials. If you're doing a cover letter, which I consider a best practice, let AI bucket the skill sets, and then you develop a paragraph about each skill set on your own. Don't let AI write it, because I swear to you, and because I have seen cover letters written by AI, and if it's for the same role, you'd be shocked how even similar the cover letter will sound. And once you're flagged as having used AI, it's like cheating on a test, like what here is real and what here is not. The other piece of it is too, in an interview setting, you're still going to have to tell your stories. And if AI is writing all your stories and doing all your stuff, my clients have found it's very hard to like practice a story that they actually didn't write or that didn't come from their heart, even if it resembles or is close to the work they've done. So be sure to remember, like, whatever the writing looks like, how polished it is, if AI polished it or whatever, at some point, assuming you get that interview down the line somewhere, you're going to have to be able to speak and speak at the level of that writing. And if you didn't write it, that's going to be really hard. Doable probably, but hard. And recruiter groups are awash with stories of people who are even trying to use AI during their interview, like typing into AI, trying to answer the questions live. Typically, that will not get you hired for a variety of reasons you can guess. So just watch out. It's an awesome tool. I've been really happy to use it. I've seen it surface a lot of really great insights, but I would not suggest letting it take over your brain. Okay. What else? Yeah, now I'm getting into the like cave part of AI, right? The other thing I want to talk about too is AI has bias and it's in the hiring process. And this is just some examples of some of the kind of key research that's been written about the bias in AI. And then a quote from this third one, gender, race, and intersectional bias. You'll see it's just from 2024, so it's brand new. They basically looked at how AI embedded in applicant tracking systems was working. So they said, we find that the massive text embedding models are biased, significantly favoring white associated names in 85.1% of cases, female associated names in only 11.1% of cases. Further analysis shows that Black males are disadvantaged in up to 100% of cases, replicating real world patterns of bias. So this is my other caution about AI from the employer side is, as an employer, please don't rely on AI to screen your resumes, have a human being in there. And I'm gonna talk in a second about a way that I kind of skirt that line with a custom GPT that I built. But it's useful for you to know that as well. And it's just because AI in itself is biased, and I'll tell you how I've leveraged that in the past. These are some folks addressing bias in AI if you're interested in learning more. So Joy Bulamwini, she wrote an amazing book. If you get I totally recommend, go to the library, check out the audiobook. She reads it herself. Amazing person. She calls herself the poet of code. And this is a photo of an experiment she did. She was developing AI that would recognize faces, and the models she was using could not recognize her face. She hadn't built those models, could not recognize her face until she literally put on a white mask like that. And then the computer would say, oh, there's a face in front of me. And that led her down this long journey. She founded this amazing group called the Algorithmic Justice League that you can look up online. She was a main driver behind a documentary called Coded Bias, which I believe is on one of the major streaming platforms. Timnit Gebru here, famously fired from Google. She was working on an AI and ethics panel. Yeah. It's useful, I think, to know who's doing that research. You can follow it, you can learn about the issues, you can understand it, you can become a justice warrior. What I'm going to show you is how I've leveraged AI in a couple of use cases. So this one is for job seekers. So I'm actually leveraging the bias inherent in AI. The text that AI produces is not neutral. It comes from a particular cultural group, and it comes from a cultural group that is favored in the US. It was largely trained on their writings and their everything. So I've developed a custom GPT that takes what clients' experiences, what they've written, their own stories, and reframes it into this dominant language model. It sadly increases the chances that they will be treated well in an interview, that they will move forward in an interview. This is really great for neurotypical people who typically talk in what's called longer strings. It also helps people whose first language was not dominant English to develop job search language that mirrors it. So you can see here, this is basically a 2-sentence answer to a story. This is actually me. This is me. I ran one of my stories I tell in interviews through my model. There's no way in hell I would have come up with that on my own. I have a hard time keeping it to 90 seconds, if you can believe it, listening to me talk here today. So this is an example of how it works. The other way I've done it, this is for the hiring side, is to create rubrics that are based on skill to try to remove bias from applicants. So in reviewing resumes, I've created a custom GPT that basically develops rubrics with human help matching very closely the job description, and then matches how well those resumes match the job description. So spoiler alert, always great to customize your resume to that job description. A model like mine will really lift yours up the more you do. It does need a human touch though. So I run resumes through it, partly because ironically enough, AI is now flooding the hiring market with a whole bunch of junk resumes. So people who used to get hundreds of applications get thousands now. And a lot of those are garbage. They don't even deserve the 6 seconds it takes to look at them. The model that I've developed kicks them out immediately. They get super low scores because they're not customized to the job description. They're like a generic resume. And so it helps in that area. Again, does not solve all the problems, but is a step in the right direction. And hey, that's it. I guess I ran out of time for Q&A, but thank you, Eric, for the time check. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thanks, Irene. That was great. Lots of tools. Hopefully, you get to leverage our tax dollars at work even more. Thank you, Irene. And here's Irene's contact info if you want to connect with her on LinkedIn. So leave that up for a second. All right, so Albert and I are going to talk about custom GPTs, and Irene actually has taken my class on how to build custom GPTs. And so that's where a lot of her insights came from, how to do this. So how many people have ChatGPT Plus subscription, the $20 a month plus subscription? How many have used that subscription to build a custom GPT? All right, good, 5 or 6 of you. We're gonna have some fun. So for those of you who haven't taken advantage of this part of your subscription, you're just getting the latest models, we're going to talk to you about how you can really save a lot of time and also just create better quality work with custom GPTs. So this is the class that I teach through Albert's list. And so mastering custom GPTs for business, we cover retrieval augmented generation. Who's heard this latest buzzword, context engineering? Has anyone heard that this week? Context engineering. It seems like it's just suddenly everywhere in my emails and feeds. They just make up words. So yeah, so really, retrieval augmented generation is a term you may have heard of, and it is context engineering. What a RAG does is it gives context to the GPT, and so with custom GPTs, you can actually add spreadsheets, add data, add stuff you wrote, add brand voice documents to train a unique GPT that you use, like for your brand voice to create content for you, for example. So in the class that we teach on Albert's list, I cover this 4-part prompt. You'll notice context is the 3rd part of the prompt. So context engineering has always been the way I've been thinking about AI and teaching AI. And it really is powerful when you're using context as part of your prompts and you're building RAGs with custom GPTs. You can hold on to it. So custom GPTs, they make AI work better for you. You can put guardrails into your custom GPT that it shouldn't leak out certain information or say certain things about your business. It will learn the context of your business. You know, it will learn your budget if you give it your budget information. It will learn your mission statement. It will reduce bias in the model. So Irene just showed you there's all kinds of bias in there, whether it's code switching or whether it's the type of language it uses. So you can reduce the bias and make it customized to the way you speak and the way you think. And by giving it detailed instructions, it will also give it guardrails that makes it less likely to hallucinate and make stuff up, which leads into the accuracy. One of the other things we teach in the class is something I call chain of thought prompting or chain of thought reasoning. If any of you have used the advanced reasoning models in ChatGPT, they are all based on chain of thought. Basically, it's just a step-by-step process to solving a problem. And when you build a very detailed prompt and save it into a custom GPT, the GPT will actually prompt you and guide you through a process of building your brand architect or building out a sales plan or a go-to-market strategy. So this is some of the stuff we do in the class, but I don't want to teach the class right now. But I want to give you guys an opportunity to sign up for the next one, the next free one that Albert and I are hosting at the end of the month on July 30th. So please scan the QR code and you can take the class, which is going to probably have context engineering in the title since that's the nom du jour that everyone's using. But But it really is what we've always been teaching with RAG and with our 4-part prompt. So with that, I was gonna have Albert show you the custom GPT that he built based on the stuff that we went over in the class.
Yeah, so one of the things I was thinking about as this whole entire AI experience started materializing is just how long it takes to prepare for your job search. How many of you take like, I don't know, week, 2 weeks to prepare for your job, your next job hunt? Are all of you like just blazing fast with thinking about what you want next? Because I didn't see that many hands up. Or is it like 1 to 2 months to think about your job search? Okay, all right. What if I could show you how you could turn your job search from a 1 to 3 month long ordeal into a 20-minute experience? Would you all like that? Okay, all right. So this is the Albert Career Coach Wizard that I've created for myself. If you have a pro subscription to ChatGPT, you can create this for yourself as well. And so what I have done here is I've given the career coach a name. I've described it as a career advisor for a B2B software as a service marketer with a strategic tone, because outside of what I do with Albert's List, I'm also a product marketing manager. And then I prompted ChatGPT to give me a description of what this custom GPT does. I told it to act as a career advisor, which is what we mentioned in the presentation just now. And I asked it to analyze my resume, my LinkedIn profile, writing samples, and I also asked it to have a very consultative tone on how to approach my job search. And then what I also added here were conversation starters. So if any day I wanted to come in and edit my LinkedIn or understand what was next for me in my career, or how I could enhance my resume if I wanted to move up in my career, I could use this GPT to do that. And of course, with my guidance, right? We're not relying solely on AI to be able to do all of our work for us. AI is merely a complementary solution that is going to make what we want to do faster and more effective. And then the next thing I wanted to do was I wanted to add in knowledge. So ChatGPT works best, and AI in general works best when it has content supporting it. So what did I add here? I added my resume. I added a PDF of my LinkedIn profile, which each of you can get today if you go to your LinkedIn profile on your, I believe, web browser, and you click on more, and you can download your LinkedIn profile, and everything of all of your experience will go through. And then 3 writing samples that I have written in my career so far. I've been a marketer, both a content marketer and a product marketer in my life. And I wanted ChatGPT to mimic the voice that I have within there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to actually use this career coach wizard, and we're going to go ahead and think through what it is that we want to do. And you can see that I've got a bunch of custom GPTs for a variety of different use cases, but we'll focus on this one today. And so you can do a few things here. You could start by exactly just saying, how can I enhance my resume for leadership roles? And this is the basic stuff. This is the questions that you give it beforehand. And it's got a copy of my resume in there. And what ChatGPT does is it does a lot of inference based on what it knows from all the content that's out there on the internet about resumes today. And it looks at what I can improve within my own resume too. So if I wanted to be a leader, I would start with this, and I would look at some of these recommendations that ChatGPT has offered. And I would go from there and decide, okay, do I really want to be a leader in my field? And can I update my resume and then, see what that would look like? And if I wanted it to have the resume written in the manner that would look that way, I could probably have ChatGPT rewrite my resume right then and here. So actually, it's offering to do that right now. So we'll just type in yes, and it'll take what's existing on my resume and it will write it all out. And I'll have to obviously review it, but this is all the information that's in there today. And it's giving me the summary, the leadership and impact, and then it'll go into the remainder of my experience. So that's the first thing you can do with stuff that already exists today. The next thing that I'm going to do here in a moment is I'm going to treat ChatGPT if I was starting from a job search from scratch, right? So let's say I was laid off this afternoon from my employer. It's been a great 2.5 years. It's time to look for something new. And, after I've spent some time thinking it over and after I've spent some time stewing in my emotions, it's time to get to work. In the traditional sense, I might go, have a drink, sleep it off for a few days, be depressed, cry to my girlfriend. But the reality is the job market moves faster than ever. I was actually laid off in August of 2022. And I realized that if I had taken 3 to 6 months off, as many people say that they will do on their LinkedIn profiles, I would have ended up in the really horrible job market of 2023. Instead, I was able to land a role pretty quickly that I still am at today. But let's say hypothetically, I was let go from my job today. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start a new chat here. And I'm actually wondering, can someone hold the mic while I type? Because there's a lot of typing that's about to happen. Okay, so I'm going to tell ChatGPT, hey, I was let go from my job today. I want you to act as if you are my career advisor, and I want you to help me plan my next moves. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT to act as my career advisor, and we're going to think about what's next. And then the first question I'm going to ask is, what are some roles, and we're going to assume that the resume that I have is the most updated, that you think I should apply for, given my experience? It is now July 9th, 2025. And giving ChatGPT dates, as I've realized, is really helpful because it helps me, it helps it understand, like, you've been at your last job since 2022. It's now been 2.5 years. And, where should we go? And so it sees my experience. It says that I should be a senior product marketing manager, director of content or product marketing, strategic partner marketing lead, an ecosystem product marketer, a developer-focused product marketer, and even a fractional or interim CMO, which I definitely don't qualify for, but it's something at least to think of in the startup space. It also gives me an understanding of what my differentiators are, right? So I can read through these, at least understand that maybe I'm not in as deep a hole as I thought because I got laid off in one of the worst job markets in a little bit. And now what it's offering me is a 30 to 90-day plan, right? So we all know that it's taken us at least 2 to 3 months to even think about how to start our job search. Now ChatGPT will tell you what to do. And if you really wanted to, you could tell ChatGPT in the next prompt, I want to use you as a day-by-day career advisor where you can hold me accountable to what I do. So let's just say you want to go into week 1. Today, I'm going to update my LinkedIn profile. I'm going to create my top 5 projects, and then I'm going to draft a positioning statement. And you could probably do this with ChatGPT in the next 15 minutes, actually, if you so want to. But you're getting the plans, you're getting the ideas, and then there's also additional tactics that you can do as well, agencies that you can work for, and so forth. So with the next piece here, you kind of have that strategy, you kind of have that idea. And the next thing that you could do, if you really wanted to know as well, is you could, actually, I don't think you can do that. In the regular ChatGPT version, you can, I think, connect to the internet and see who's hiring. I don't have that feature with me, but what I could do is I could ask, as of this time, what kind of companies are also hiring. So I'm going to do that next year. Yep. I think I am ready to apply for my next job. Can you tell me what companies are hiring for product marketing and content marketing jobs in July 2025 that I should consider? And so it used to be, right, you may be surfing LinkedIn, you're wondering who's actually hiring, what's a hot company to go work for. We're going to have ChatGPT do some of the work for us. So it's actually giving me internet links here. So some of the companies here that it thinks that I would be a match for, some of the companies for product marketing and content marketing, and even remote and national roles that I think I would be good for, and then also some of these salary ranges as well. And so it thinks I should apply for these jobs because there's a variety of different experiences that I care for. And it's going to, and one thing you can do is you can take a job description and then you can work off of that and see where you go next. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and find a job description. I think if I can find one here. Let's say I wanted to work at TikTok. Oh. Okay, so let's see if I can find anything. Okay. All right, let's find a company that everybody here recognizes. Um, let's do education. Actually, no, that's lower pay than I want. Let's see. Um, let's go work at Strava and Growth. No, that's not even that person either. See, this is like, okay. This happens when you do something live and you don't have something that's pre-ready to go. Oh wow, really? Okay. All right. Let's just say all right, let's say, oh my gosh. Okay. All right, we'll do DoorDash. So what you can do here is you can go into this job description and copy this description and bring it into ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT to analyze this job description for you. So I'm going to say to ChatGPT, I am applying for this job at DoorDash. We're going to paste it and we're going to say, find me, or actually help me analyze this job and where I fit. Be honest about my qualifications and tailor my resume as needed to fit this role. Right? So I don't really quite fit this role, but let's see what ChatGPT comes up with. So I'm a strong fit with campaigns, some cross-functional leadership, agency partner management, gaps which are obvious because I'm in B2B. This is more consumer brand. I haven't had any experience with TikTok. And so it's going to go ahead and tailor my resume here to at least be somewhat aligned with it. And so what I can do after some clear review is I can rewrite my resume, make sure that it actually does match up with everything I'm saying and that I'm not lying too much, and then go ahead and submit it. So, okay. So it's actually offering to revise the actual resume. So in your cases, I would go for jobs, especially in this economy, that you are a much closer match to than what you are not, because companies do care about that type of experience. So in the real world, I probably wouldn't get a call back for this job, but let's just hypothetically say I did. So now what we're going to do is we're going to treat ChatGPT as a mock interviewer. And so this next task here, I'm going to show you. I'm going to say this. I got an interview for this job. Help me prepare for it. And so there's actually a couple ways that you can do it from here. Number one is you can tell ChatGPT to ask you one question at a time and mock interview you and act as the mock interviewer. You give the answer and then it gives you the feedback. The way I'm going to kind of go around that today is I'm going to show you that if you know what you're doing in an interview process, that you can also showcase the interview prep and have it all at once. And so I'm going to do this next part here. So this next part here is I'm going to say, yep, act as an interviewer for this job. In a multi-column table, I want you to show me the following. Column A, we're going to ask it to give me the question type. And this can be star questions, which is situation, task, action, result. In for hypothetical questions, like let's say we gave you this actual job, what would you do with it? Fact-based questions, personality questions. Column B, we're going to ask the question itself. So what are your greatest strengths? What are your greatest weaknesses? Column C, we're going to say, highlight the story from my resume or LinkedIn that you would use to answer this. And then column D, we're going to say the interview answer itself. And then if you want, you could say column E, why did you choose this answer? And so it used to take us a long time to prepare for our interviews. We'd go for drives, we'd go for the beach, we'd think, okay, what was I once asked in my job interviews? And now what ChatGPT is going to do in this particular example, it is going to give me a 5-column table that tells me what question I'm going to be asked, likely because based on my experience, the question itself, the relevant story from your LinkedIn or your resume, and then how you're going to answer that question, and then why this answer works. So you want ChatGPT to give you that logic. And so instead of having to think for weeks, maybe months about how you answer this particular question, you can look through this entire table and have something prepared for you well ahead of time. And if you don't agree with the answer, you can always modify it later on. And this also gives you the opportunity to practice it. So I think I'm being told that I'm out of time, but have I given everybody an idea of how you could now reduce your job search from like three months to like 20 minutes? All right, awesome. So I encourage everyone to go home and do this so that you can get back into the job market faster and be wherever you want to be in your life. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Albert. Great presentation. All right. So, hey, if anyone needs to use the restroom, get a glass of water, please feel free to get up. We're not taking breaks. We're just plowing through for another hour and 15 minutes or so. I'm very excited to introduce our next presenter. Annette Bloom-Pearson and I have become friends. We met in this room. Coming up, Annette, coming up, Madhu. Annette and I met doing Web3 yoga in this room. We used to have yoga here every Wednesday morning. And then as we both got involved in the Workforce Development DAO through We Heart SF, through the lunch that we have, we became friends and we became colleagues actually working on our project of how do we help solve the homeless problem with better job resources and job training. So Annette is an amazing executive leadership coach. And Madhu is her friend who is going to sit down with Annette in a fireside chat. And Madhu is a corporate talent leader. So without further ado, hand it over. I think we have one mic. We'll see if we can find another so we don't have to pass them back and forth. But thank you.
Thank you so much, Eric. Hi, everyone. Everyone doing okay? Do you need a quick stretch? Yeah, good, no? Okay, well, this is going to go really fast. We only have about 20 minutes to cover all of what it means to be a corporate talent partner and all of the things that Madhu does in her world. So I'm going to give a very quick intro from her bio and let her do a little bit more of an introduction about how she got into the world of HR, what she's passionate about, and how she leads at the intersection of HR and technology. But as someone who grew up with a 4-letter last name that everyone mispronounced, you will forgive me for mispronouncing this 13-letter last name. But I've been trying, so it's Soundarajan.
Got it.
And Madhu and I actually met through a fellow board member of mine through the International Coaching Federation Board of Trustees that I sit on. and he recommended her as an expert in this field when I told him about the event that was coming up. She has over 15 years of experience in human resources across multiple areas, such as human capital consulting, executive recruiting, HR planning and strategy, or organizational design, change management, talent design, leadership assessment, and HR program and product management. She has an MA in human resource management and an MBA in information systems. And as I said, has been at the intersection of HR, data, and technology for over a decade. So I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about what you do in HR and why you love bringing technology into the work that you do.
Sure. Hello, everyone. It's always a challenge to be one of the last few sessions, so I'm going to try my best to hold all your attention. My career in HR kind of started strangely with an executive recruiting startup back in India. And coming to think of it, it's kind of a strange place for a fresh undergrad to start their HR career because, hey, what do I know about advising executives with 20 plus years of experience about what their career move should be? But I think as I sort of look back and connect the dots, it is that experience that kind of set me up for the future roles that I took into consulting and HR business partnership, because it kind of taught me about a certain level of communication you need when you're collaborating and working with executives. So it kind of fell in place. So I really think about my career as a combination of chance and intentionality. The intentionality comes with the kind of opportunities that I chose to take after that first experience. What really excites me about HR and technology, and particularly HR and AI, is the fact that it's a very interesting age to be in. The possibilities are endless. I use AI on a regular basis every day, not just for automating or streamlining tasks, but I converse with AI to brainstorm on ideas that enables me to add quicker value to my clients at a faster pace. So it really helps me to, if I have an idea in head, it helps me to prototype on that idea, iterate on that idea, quickly get feedback, quickly choose the best idea and deliver value. And I think that's what really excites me about HR and AI.
Absolutely. There's so many opportunities to use it to streamline, as we just saw on the search side, but also on the way that recruiting and talent management and talent development happen. So if you don't mind telling us what your role is now and some of the work that you're doing to help the organization move forward as the employee base grows and changes.
Sure. My day job, I work at Airbnb, but I do want to make a disclaimer that anything I say is my opinion. Airbnb has got nothing to do with whatever I have to share. It's all based on my experience. So, some of the exciting things that I've gotten to work in my career, in fact, one of the first products that I helped build was a job search product, interestingly, about more than a decade ago when I was in Pittsburgh. The product was essentially a two-sided marketplace where we were fundamentally challenging the hypothesis that for a job seeker or for an employer, the experience should not be just about, hey, there is a job description that lists skills. Hey, there is a resume that has skills, and do a mechanical matching. Because if you all remember, like 10 years, 15 years back, that's essentially what all the job portals were doing. It was boring, it was mechanical, it did not add any value. And what we were trying to challenge is job seekers are looking for something that's beyond just that mechanical match. Employers are looking for something that's beyond that mechanical match. So a use case that we would work on would look something like, hey, I want to bike to office, right? Can I find opportunities? Because that biking experience to work is important to me, right? So then how can I find opportunities that it's kind of at the intersection of what I value for my life and what I want to do at work? For an employer, it would look like, hey, you have 20 software engineers within 10 miles radius from where you are that are interested in you. Would you like to organize an event with them to get to know them as people? So we were really trying to address that particular intersection. And it was a bootstrapped startup with just 5 of us, and I got the amazing opportunity to be a product analyst, talking to employers, job seekers, converting those into user stories and eventually features, which was a very fun experience. And we eventually got acquired, so good for us. But that was something that I started. And then since then, I've kind of been at the intersection of building HR products. And today I focus on building HR internal products that enhance our employee experience. And a specific thing that I'm particularly very happy about is I have gotten the opportunity to build internal talent marketplaces where we can use the skills that employees would want to build and match them with short-term projects or assignments, because we all know that we learn 70, there is the 70-20-10 rule of learning. 70% of what we learn is through on the job. So my goal has been, how can we give that experience to our workforce where they're developing skills by working on the job, and at the same time, they're able to help get work done for their teams or for the organization.
That sounds like an amazing program. I'm wondering if you have ever considered doing something like that for people outside of the organization, interns or contractors, where you're having a marketplace for talent to bring people who aren't necessarily in the organization yet, but who might add new perspectives, new talent, and bring their value to either Airbnb or wherever you may happen to be at some point.
So far, my experience has only taken me to build these kind of products internally. But there are a lot of platforms and tools that are out there that actually do it for job seekers too. And I think I personally learned a lot from Irene's presentation on all those kind of platforms. So something that I've learned today. So thank you for that.
Yes, Irene is a human dictionary of everything that is available to us. And I was taking copious notes. I am not an AI expert and need to take Eric's class so that I can do better in serving my clients. But I'm wondering, how are you and your colleagues seeing AI actually impact the industry of HR and talent management?
First of all, I'll say that AI has helped us as HR professionals kind of move up the value chain in some sense. We are no longer required to do like the admin work that HR professionals have long been doing, and we are now being truly valued for the human element that we bring with our professions, with our judgment and creativity. I think one of the things that I would actually see two things that fundamentally are changing how HR profession is evolving. And my first point is very much related to what Natalia's presentation was all about. It is about HR leaders, business leaders are starting to think about how can we enable workforce to have a sense of purpose and a sense of meaning at work. Because let's take a step back. For centuries together, the way we've all looked at work is that we work, we make money, we use that money to take care of our families, and that kind of has been how we've seen a sense of value and purpose that we give back, whether it is to our loved ones or to our society. Now, here is a technology that's coming and that's taking that seems like it's going to take that value away. So what does that mean? That means that once every 3 years or 5 years, we are all having to reinvent ourselves. And that can be a very, very daunting task. So leaders are starting to think about two things. One, how can we give that sense of purpose and meaning at work to our employees? And two, how can we enable workforce to develop a mindset of adaptability? Because if we are all having to change ourselves and we know it's coming, and what I do today is not going to be relevant 3 years from now, I'm going back to the drawing board every 3 years, every 5 years. And that needs a mindset. And that is something that we constantly think about in our profession. The second thing I would say is, it's not specific only to the HR professionals. but maybe beyond just HR, is how can we think about making our workforce be true system thinkers? Because now with AI, everything is interconnected. You can't look at one problem in isolation. And this probably manifests in different roles in different ways. One example I can give is in our world, we are no longer required to manage payroll processes or compliance or policy enforcement because these can be automated. But what we focus on is building a culture that influences trust, that influences inclusion, that influences intentionality. This is an entire design that we'll have to think about and not just one problem in isolation. So those are the two things that I fundamentally see how our professions are evolving.
That I feel we could spend hours diving into both of those, but the follow-up question that came up for me is, what recommendations do you have for job seekers or people who are looking to pivot about how they can incorporate systems thinking into the way that they're evolving in their professional lives?
I'm not going to say anything that's very, very different from what Irene and Albert has already shared, but I will reiterate a few things. I think it's very important that we all start thinking about our profiles beyond just a resume. I think it was Irene or Albert, who kind of talked about a portfolio of skills that we can think about. So if I have to take my example, I would say my skills are not communication or collaboration, but my skills should be strategic storytelling. It's a cluster of skills we need to start thinking about, and think about. And the fundamental question we should start asking is, what do people come to me when they ask for my help in my organization? It's really about what is the value that we can bring to the table, and not really what are the skills that I'm great at, I'm good at. It has to be value driven. One of the experts that I follow in LinkedIn, his name is Anish Raman. He is the chief economist of LinkedIn. So he actually says, it's interesting thing for all of us to have a perspective on is, we have now moved from a knowledge economy to an innovation economy. We are already in the innovation economy. And to be able to survive and thrive in this economy, he talks about 5 C's, which are 5 essential skills: collaboration, communication, curiosity, compassion, creativity. Now, if you think about it, ironically, these are in a pre-AI era, these would be called as the soft skills, but they are not the soft skills anymore. They are the power skills that we all need to have. And ironically, these are also the 5 C's that make us truly human, that differentiates us from AI. So the question we need to ask ourselves is, what portion of what I do today is repetitive, is rule-based? If more than 50% of what we are doing is rule-based, we are going to get impacted by AI. So then the next question is, okay, where do I differentiate myself from AI that AI cannot do that I bring? And that is where we need to start thinking about the value that we all bring in. And there is a USP that we all have. We need to really channel that USP and really go all in on that.
Wow. So I hope everyone really heard that and took that in, because the value that we bring is our humanity. We all have experience. We all have things we've studied or learned, but what you're saying is the thing that someone comes to you for, the thing they trust you to do over someone else, the thing they trust you to do over AI, is where you bring unique value to the table. And this concept of humanity, the compassion, the curiosity, the connection, those are the things that are going to help each and every job seeker stand out at the end of the day, especially when everyone is using ChatGPT to modify their resumes and they all start looking and sounding a little bit similar. This brings me back to our last career conference when we talked about the value of our network. And it's not just the way your resume shows up. It's not just the way that you write a cover letter, but it's who you know, who knows you, and how they interact with you once you're in the room having an interview or an interaction with employees you might be working with. So Thank you for sharing that, because I think the humanity is what's going to differentiate us. And when we think about whether or not we can be replaced by AI, it's that rule of can a computer learn to do what I'm doing? And if so, how do I differentiate with something that involves emotional intelligence and real connection? So,
And I'd say these kind of reflections should not be done only when you are in between a transition or looking for a job. This has to be a continuous process. And in a same way, in a strange way, AI is now like that forcing function for all of us to do that on a very, very periodic basis.
awesome. Yes. The job search is, or I should say, your professional development is ongoing. No matter whether you're in a job you love or a job you medium like, or you're looking right now, there's always going to be the potential that you're going to be looking for something new. And so being able to up-level your skills, understand what stories differentiate you, and also recounting your wins. So keeping track of all of these wins so that you actually have something to feed into the AI model that you're working with is going to be essential. So great reminder. So I want to end with one last question, given that we have such a short period of time. But something that came up in our conversation as we were planning this event was, how should early in career folks be thinking about using AI, but also adapting into this world where AI is taking over when they don't have as much experience or skill or maybe knowledge of the value that they bring?
The beauty of AI in this age that we live in is it's democratized access for all of us. There is tons and tons of AI tools that are free that we can use, and there is almost any use case that you can create that's relevant to a role you're looking for or the industry you're part of, and experiment with those AI tools. So I think AI savviness is now like the foundation, just like how we would expect anybody to be familiar with working on an Excel or Google suite of products. AI is already there. So I think if you're a new grad who's already, a computer science graduate, you're probably already doing this. Like Dennis gave an amazing demo. But if you're in a non-tech field, you don't have to be a coder, right? And I saw that in the agenda later today, there's vibe coding. I'm not an engineer by profession, but I already use vibe coding to actually build some apps and for some of my personal projects. So the beauty of AI is it doesn't even have to be a professional use case. In fact, I've built a custom GPT. I'm a new parent, and I've actually built a custom GPT that helps me, that prompts me what are like the local baby activities that I can take my kid to, right? It's something that I've played around with. So you can actually build any use case to actually get more and more AI savvy. And if you're not from a technical field, I would say you should start there. Get your hands there and get curious. Get your hands, dirty on these AI tools, and also have the courage to put your work out there, because the more we put our work and the more we share our learnings, we are in fact investing in our own brand out there. So that brand value is something that's going to come a long way, even if you're early on starting your career.
Thank you so much. We are done.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. That was great. Thanks, Madhu. Thanks, Annette. So we have a couple more presentations for you. Next up is Geraldine. And Geraldine also has become a friend through the Workforce Development DAO, a fellow traveler in HR technology who's passionate about solving problems of the workplace and skills and development and recognition. So Geraldine.
Yes. Hi, everyone. How are you feeling? Good? So I'm a French Californian entrepreneur. Bonjour. So let's start with Web3 total talent recognition. So what I love about this session today is that everything is coming together because we learned how AI can help us, but we also being aware that our humanity matter and that there's no other choice than adapting and adapting ourselves to this new world. And for that, in terms of adaptation, I loved as well your concept of portfolio of skills, which is super important because this is how we want to build our adaptation by building our skill set and how to share our skill set to the world. And it's a little bit about what we do at Good for Work. So I'm gonna start with a question for you. So when was the last time you felt truly proud of your work? Okay, today. And I bet that's, I love this answer because I bet that you were recognized for it. That's why you are proud of that, because you have an impact. And indeed, recognition is the first driver of employee engagement and performance. So when I was HR exec in another life, and I was always frustrated because during career committee, I always felt that we lacked of accurate data on people, where the work is. And during career committees, that was all about, okay, how can we make sure to have this accurate data? So I was dreaming of having this tool capturing strengths and people impact, but in the flow of work, based on continuous recognition. So, and we are at the intersection of AI and Web3 for that. And the question is, how do you leverage Web3 for that? So just to give you a quick, so this is a badge, okay? So this is a badge that you could get for your skill. Actually, if the network is allowing us to show it, but this is kind of a badge that you could share with the world, where you could showcase your skills. So this is just a question of design to make it fun, to showcase your skills. But what we do at Good for Work, we basically reinvent recognition. Okay, we'll all intuitively know that your new workforce has radically changed. It's much more diverse. It's much more dynamic. This is why agility is so important. And so, okay, and recognition. We are reinventing recognition by creating badges to showcase your skills. And how we leverage Web3 is that it's all about ownership and it's all about portability of your skills. The attributes of Web3 is that when you change your company, you don't have to restart from scratch to build trust, which is, you know, the challenge for everyone. You could have been a high performer for years, and we can still have this recency bias, which makes us only remember what happened for the last month. But you need to capture that high impact that you had before, and this is what we do. So how we do that? We build trust through recognition. So you got it. And it's a 3-step process. So I won't show you the demo of the tool, but just imagine, so at first it's a B2B product, but for today, because I love this community, we can help some job seekers to identify their skills and to have a badge that they can share after that on LinkedIn. So I will give you a QR code in the end. But how it works on the B2B end is that we capture all the recognition. So nothing incredible. It's a bot that is integrated where people are, their team communication tools, and all the positive feedback that they can receive, they can keep it. And we are making sure that it's a 360 degrees overview. So how blockchain can help is by validating, by removing biases, by making sure that it's trusted employee data, so that for one skill, different people can give the context. We were talking about the context. Why? Because it's so important to have the context. And when you have one customer, when you have one peer, when you have one manager, when you have 10 people who are definitely explaining that they give the feedback on a specific behavior, which is attached to a specific skill, then you have your proof of skill, right? This is what we do. So we capture the continuous recognition feedback in the flow of work, you know, which was my dream when I was in career committee, not only the performance review, but more and continuous data. And when it's with as many people as possible, defining the rule, let's say 10 people, we can prove the skill. And this is where blockchain can help as well, because blockchain is a technology that can verify the skills in that sense. And then, yes, the thing is that we can share that on LinkedIn. So imagine that you have a proof of skills badge. You have the context description, so 10 different people from Jude prior company, for example, Workday, because yes, by the way, we are working on integration with HRIS software, which helps in the corporate world, of course, because imagine that you have your Workday profile or something else. You have a bunch of skills there. And what we do is to have a validated skill because it's based on different feedback. Yes, 10 different people from the prior company. So as we said, you know, 360 degrees overview to demonstrate the proficiency in IT project management, for example. And how we do that after that, all the positive feedback on the key behaviors for IT project management, which can be communicating clearly, leading efficiently in meetings, solving problems, etc. All these key behaviors, if you do have positive feedback, we capture that. And yes, we don't have the QR code, but I'm here. It was like a last minute update. So yes, it was quick. Just for you, we talked about innovation, yes. So we are at this stage of innovation, how we can serve better the new workforce, this new world, how we can leverage technologies for that. And to give you an idea, the use case that we have is that we have post-training use case, for example. So people go for a training, they do acquire a skill, but companies need to demonstrate and people need to apply their skills in the flow of work. So as soon as they do apply the skills, we capture this positive feedback, and it's a way to demonstrate the ROI of training for company, which is super important. And the other thing is that you listen more and more about this AI agent, and especially in HR, we have more AI agent who can take up on roles, not only tasks, okay? But when you do have these AI agents, you absolutely need to have accurate data. And you do need to have continuous data and recognition data. And what we do with that is that in the end, we are serving better AI by giving that human data that we were talking about, which are the recognition data. Because we can't, so there are studies that have been done. Of course, we trust at some point for assessing people performance, we trust more humans than machines. Even though, you know, we know the beauty and the power of AI. So which means that definitely we need to keep that human touch. We need to keep that recognition that comes from humans. And this is the kind of data that we want to keep for us as as a personal brand as well, because we were talking about personal brand. So this is where it's super important. And this is where we want to keep this data afterwards as well. And blockchain, again, is about validating and portability. Yeah, so I hope that I could give you a spark of the future and the present, which is about what about building your own skills for badges based on what you did and your impact, and share that with the world and keep it and not lose it when you leave your company. Thank you.
Thank you, Geraldine. It was amazing. Yeah, proof of recognition, proof of skills. The QR code is now available if you want to get your badge from Geraldine. So Albert, before you introduce Renee, I'm just going to say that we're going to have Renee do a vibe coding workshop, and then Garrett from Callings is going to do a quick demo after that. We're all welcome to stay here until 9 for networking after Garrett's demo in this room and in the next room. That was a big, that was a lot of fun last time, the networking afterwards. So Albert.
All right. So where's Renee? Are you, where is he? Oh, okay. Have Renee come in here. So the next thing we're gonna do from 7:15 to 7:45, actually really just starting in a few here, is we're gonna talk about vibe coding. So vibe coding, as many of you may or may not know, is one of the new ways to code and create apps without actually having any coding knowledge. And I came across Renee about, I don't know, a year ago around this time. He was talking about building websites without knowing how to code a single bit. And he's taken that and he's built an AI agent business out of it. And so, Renee, whenever you're ready to come up here, wherever you are. Is he here? Oh, okay. I mean, I can show you how to use Replit too. I use it all the time as well, but he's a lot better. Yeah. So let's see. Okay, all right. Good to see you.
Hell yeah.
All right.
If I'm just going.
You're gonna use this laptop. Yeah.
Can you use this laptop? Can you plug into Replit?
Do you have a preference? I am New York calling. Yeah, I'm also connected to the internet. Okay.
All right. Should I hold the microphone while you speak? Okay.
Sorry.
That's while I was typing my own prompting too. Oh wait, we got to get your there. So let's that needs to be up there. So I think you need to probably move it over. Oh, you have to mirror it. Okay, so go to your settings. Yeah, just go to your settings and I think go to display and mirror things. Yeah. I think you take that one, right? And then you make it the main one.
Fucking give me your other computer. Get back. Log in. That's one of the things why I said I couldn't.
Oh, you couldn't log in?
Well, no, I can't. I have to log in with Google. I have to log in with Google on this thing.
Oh, you have your Google password? You know your Gmail password? Okay.
You don't already even have to have a paid one. I'm gonna just show you how to do it for free. Look. Oh, my bad. Okay, really good. Good. We'll just lock back in.
Cool.
So you can talk about me for a second while I create this new
Oh, I already did. I mentioned agencies and how I discovered you a year ago doing your thing. And all right, we're going to charge Eric's account.
Taking the free cost on this one. All right, I understand, baby. Let's go. Oh, hold on. There's some usage already. It's. Do you use Replit? Oh. Well, we're really gonna use your account then today. Hell yeah! All right, so hi, my name's Renee. Nice to meet you all. I'm just a regular guy out here in San Francisco. I'm not originally from here. I'm from Missouri, but I'm just out here having fun. So I'm gonna be teaching you guys today how to use AI to build super cool stuff. Recently, also, some of you guys may have seen this. There was an article out in the SF Standard about some guy that won like a bunch of hackathons and stuff, all with AI. That's me. But outside of that, that's not really that cool. What is really cool is that a lot of us have a lot of problems. Maybe some of us are people that want to go and have a website. Maybe you guys sell shoes or clothes, or you do already something. So maybe you need some kind of platform to be able to sell stuff, or maybe you're looking for something that allows you to go and do more with whatever type of business that you're doing. The cool part is software is really, really good at being able to eat up problems that you might have. If you have clothes that you're selling, well, then maybe getting it out to the amount of people that can actually see it and buy it might be a problem. Maybe you have like different types of limitations, and that's what websites and servers are here to do. So the cool thing is I don't know how to read or write code, but I can use AI. And the tool I'm going to be using and showing you guys today is called Replit. Replit is a really cool AI code IDE that allows you to go and build code using only language. So I'm going to show you a quick example here. All right, so maybe I wanted to go and do something like, hey, make me a e-commerce. I'll refund you for this later. Hey, make me an e-commerce shop for shoes. Fantastic. It doesn't have to be too crazy or anything. We're just wanting to go and show a proof of concept that we can just go and do it on the fly. It doesn't matter. You can replace this with any other thing. In fact, whenever I did this the other day for the SF Standard, I made a Labubu shop, so that was pretty cool. You guys know what that is. So what happens here is I asked the AI, like, hey, I'm looking to build this. So the AI is going to respond to me like, okay, cool. Like, let me go and review what you're trying to do. I'm going to give you some options. We're going to decide you might need this, 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 this. You're going to approve it. And then once you approve it, we're going to get to it. So look at this. We have this, couple other features. Hell yeah, approved plan. Fantastic. Now, normally what happens here is I'm at home. As the articles say, I smoke a lot of weed, and I also drink quite a bit. So the thing is, normally once this happens, I'm out the door. I could be smoking, and I come back. I'm like, all right, it's still working. Let's go back for round two. And that's, it's fun because the cool part is you don't have to go and live this really boring life where you're just relegated to like, hey, you have to be proper. You have to go and, posturize proper and like, fuck all that. I don't even have a degree. But the cool part is anyone can do it. I'm just a regular guy. And so all I'm going to show you guys is how this works. So let's look at this so far. Damn, look at that. That's a pretty nice shoe right there. If I scroll down a little bit, and it's still working. As we scroll down, it's still actively adding more and more stuff. So what's going to happen is basically in 15 minutes, which I'm probably not going to wait the whole 15 minutes because I don't want to waste everybody's time. Shit. So basically what's happening here is as the AI is getting its done, and once it hits a completion point, you're going to be able to test it. Now, a lot of people, whenever they're very big engineers, and they're like, well, Renee, how do you know your code works? I test it. It's very simple. I go, I click the button. Did it work? Yes. All right, fantastic. Did it not? Oh, okay. Let me go and redo it. So at the end of the day, it's a very simplistic content. What you're doing is you're just going to AI and you're having it build it up, your stuff. So let's go and expand this a little bit further. So I am just a regular guy, and there's a lot of people in here that are regular people. A lot of you maybe don't know how to, let's say, build a rocket ship. And let's say I wanted to build a rocket ship with all of you guys. And this is important because this is going to be a frame of mind that you're going to have to think when you build with AI. Because right now, me and all of you guys cannot build a rocket ship. I know pretty confidently. Unless you guys can, then don't tell me that. But the thing is, if we don't know what to build on a rocket ship, we don't know the wings, we don't know what kind of engine, we don't know what kind of fuel. And this is great because we know already a couple of things, what's called Dunning-Kruger effect. We know what we know. We know what a rocket ship is. We know what we don't know. Well, we know that there is a engine, but I don't know what kind of engine that is. And we also know that there's a lot of stuff in there that we have no clue what the fuck it is. So what we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to use AI to figure out the state of the art for whatever people do in that industry and build out an engine. So I might say like, look, my spaceship is, I only care that it gets to space. It doesn't need to go and land. It can even explode in midair. Who cares? But that's my goal. So what I would do is I can utilize AI, Claude, X, whatever the hell you want to use AI, do some deep research. Huh? Yes, Claude. You can use deep research and figure out like, hey, look, I know that my rocket ship is going to be doing this. What do other companies already do this? Well, we know that SpaceX uses aluminum, nickel, whatever, and then we use these engines if you really want to go all the way, but you're likely to blow up. Fantastic. All that your investors care about is, did you do it? At the end of the day, all your families care about is, did you make some money? And at the end of the day, if we can go and create extra income and revenue for ourselves, we can even free ourselves, because right now we have this extremely saddening thing where a lot of the nation has been laid off at some point. We're looking at like up to 8% layoff rates, and we're looking at like a lot of people losing their jobs. Overnight, we're going to have a crisis where there's a lot of people that don't have the option to make their own money. This is an opportunity to take the fight back, to go and say as a solopreneur, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm willing to use something like AI to build something that can give me a fight, build something, make some money, and take it further. And that's all I'm really showing you guys today. So we'll keep seeing what's going on here. It's still typing away. Damn, like I said, this is like, it's a very, I normally teach this very quickly. Well, I don't really want to charge Eric or me more money on that, but maybe what I should do is take some questions real quick. Would that be a good thing? Oh, wow, there's already questions. Here, you bring that around to people. Oh, yeah, I need a mic for Zoom. Oops.
So this is super cool. I'm very much an AI newbie. So my question is, as people who are newbies or just regular people like you and me, how will these sites kind of be differentiated if like 25 million people are like, build me a shoe store website?
Well, think about it. If you were someone that builds shoes, you probably have like a signature. You probably have something that you yourself do. Maybe if you're a reseller, that's one thing, but maybe you yourself are a shoemaker. You can create your own custom brand and do this from there. A lot of brands actually already do this, such as Nike and all these other companies. The thing is, we're at least just giving you the opportunity to go the distance. You still have to stand out on your own. How you decide it is how you decide it. But the cool part is, because you're a regular person, just like every single other person here, you understand what regular people think. For example, I know that if I get in an Uber and it's $150, that's expensive. We all can agree with that. But some people might be like, oh, that's cheap. And they don't live in the same world that we do. So the coolest and greatest thing that we have here is that we understand how each one of us thinks and how we can be just regular people. And if you can understand that, you can capture market.
Hi, thanks for taking the question.
Yes.
So vibe coding has come forward as a quick way to automate business process and business logic. At the same time, there's a lot of concern around security, privacy, and other compliance obligations.
Oh, yes, there
do you bake security in to vibe coding, and how does Replit do that? In brief.
No, that's fantastic. Actually, I'm really glad you brought this up because, something really funny happened this weekend. So like after that, article blew up, there was a lot of people that were upset with me. In fact, if you guys know what this thing here means with like drop table user, drop table members, there were people that were trying to hack me this week. They were trying to make me do it. They click it, lose all my stuff, screw over all my customers, what you would do. Because the thing is, vibe coding is really scary. If you have a guy like me that doesn't know shit and is able to build stuff very quickly and even take over people's like entire companies overnight, well, now you have to fear like, well, are they scalable? Are they able to be reliable with security? Well, in this example, this was Replit's core thing where they could go and check and make sure that none of those things got messed up. And the greatest part is after I found out about this, I was able then to go and have the AI like, hey, look, I know that I'm trying to get hacked right now by numerous different people from across the world. What I want you to do is create a way to go and capture these people. So that way I get their IP, I get every single data that I need. So whenever this happened, I posted it on social media today. I haven't been attempted to hack one more time since. So I think Replit does it pretty well, and I'm ready to fight anyone that thinks elsewise. Hell yeah.
I
Next.
have a question. Why would I use Replit to build an e-commerce website if I know how to do it on Wix or on Shopify, or to build a mobile application and I build them on Lovable? What's the advantage?
Absolutely. So it's going to be a right tool, right situation thing. So for what you're explaining, if it's a mobile application, first of all, Replit can't do it. Replit can only build cloud scalable products. So if you need something local, you're probably going to have to use a different type of IDE. But outside of that, I personally believe Replit, because I don't know how to code, is probably the easiest opportunity for someone that doesn't know how to code to get into tech. Because the thing is, whenever you go into tech, you first think that there's only code, which most of you probably think that there's only code. But let me tell you, there is a lot more. There's CI/CD, there's dependencies. Once you start getting into these type of things, there's whole ops teams that are normally paid just to go and manage those little pieces. Then all of a sudden it's like, well, now I need a team of 20 people to be able to manage. So the thing is, I think for products like Replit, you see where this is deploy button is? I click deploy. I'm not going to click it again because then I'll start charging him. But I can click deploy one more time, and this thing is ready to go. We have a website up and ready to go, and it's a functioning, scalable website. If you can do it on Wix, do it. I don't care. If that's what works for you, that's what works for you. But how long does it take you? And how long does it take you to add extra features? If a client came to you and was like, hey, I want to add an AI chatbot also to it to help understand different things inside your stuff, how long would it take you? If the answer is longer than 24 hours, you might want to consider something else. So that's my opinion. Next? None? All right, fantastic. Let's see where the hell we're at. Oh, we got another one. All right, let's go.
So
The YouTube needs your voice, brother.
you talk about impoverishing your colleague here, making this.
Yes, sir.
So I'm curious about the vague about the cost of this. So you made one prompt, you got this site.
Yep.
Are we talking $1.50 or are we talking
Sure.
$150?
Well, let me real quick show you what we have. So just real quick with that one prompt, I've only done one prompt. Let's see how much we've done real quick. All right, cool. Very, very nice. This is decently for one prompt. So for this one prompt, even though that I do know that, like, let me see, if I click women's, men's, shoes, sales, athletes. Oh, this does something. Okay, that's cool. So we know what we got so far. Let's look at the cost. $1.19. It's right there. If you're wondering, it's $1.19. Yeah, they give me $25 a month if you have a subscription. That's correct. So if you think about it, that website's not done. Do it 5, 10 more times. Spend the $5, $10. How much can you get done? Cool. Does that answer that? Fantastic. Oh, there's someone back there? All right, cool. Yeah.
Your actual, as far as your methods, I mean, can you give us just a little idea of, your approach, because obviously you're a good vibe coder as opposed to someone new.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true. Because technically, I've been coding for 2 years, but I've only coded with AI. So you are correct in that sense. Yeah, that's literally all I typed in. I don't think there was any prompt hacking. I don't think there was anything. In fact, well, the security stuff is partially already in there. What I'm finding out, and this goes back to the rocket ship example, is that if I'm building into something that, like, let's say security, and I don't know how or what I'm supposed to be looking at, I can use AI to, again, figure out the SOTA, what is the state of the art for that current industry, and then start applying those to my stuff. Because right now, people have things called best practices in all of your industries. Same is true for this industry too, cybersecurity or anything else. So you'd be able to go and use AI to find that information, take that information, pop it into your Replit account, which is what I prefer, or whatever the hell it is, get it done, and then your AI can go and get, whatever done actuated, and then you don't look like an idiot on my LinkedIn.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Oh, we got a lady up here. Another mic. You get a mic. You get a mic.
What's worked for me when I've used Bold or Novel or Replit is ChatGPT does a pretty good job of helping you synthesize your PRD, like your user features, and define out, because it's really good in a conversational style. What I've realized is a Lovable or a Bold is when you start having conversations and have a lot of back and forth, they get confused. So there's also a word where you can use one tool, really streamline your thoughts, and then put it all in Replit or a Lovable or a Bold. Actually, you might get better results than right? Rather than starting with something like this like that.
I can understand that, and I actually don't really disagree with you. I think that's relatively real. The only part I would say that is slightly different is I don't really work with PRDs, and these are like what are they called? Did everybody get that? Product requirement documents. All right. See, I don't even know what that word really meant. But the thing is, I know most people wouldn't understand what that is either. Regular people. So for regular people, they don't, I wouldn't make them have to understand too much more about that. Instead, they just need to know that, like, hey, I'm looking to build an e-commerce shop for shoes, or I'm looking to do whatever. They should allow AI to go and do a little bit further. I do agree with you though, like you can get better results sometimes that way, but you do have to be skilled. And I don't expect people that are learning from me to be as skilled. Not in an offensive way. Cool. We have someone up here. Mike, coming from behind you. Good job.
Okay, so I actually am a coder. I've been programming for about 5 years now. C
Hell yeah.
Sharp, VR. We're actually Facebook friends on my old Facebook account.
Whoops.
We'll reconnect later.
Hell yeah.
We'll reconnect later. But my question is, I'm struggling with the job interview process and just the job hunting process in general, because I'm not good at the stand up and code by hand, right? I can code, but like not in front of a bunch of people on the spot like that. I have severe anxiety.
Fair.
So my actual question for you is, how are you finding your clients and monetizing this? Because I've built websites almost identical to that.
I'm
in
sure you have.
hours myself. But like, how the fuck can I make some money, bro?
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Let me tell you what I did. So 2 years ago, I came into this entire thing basically without really anyone knowing who the fuck I was. I started going to a lot of hackathons, and what I found is that I needed to go and get people to go and have some kind of trust in me. So I used social media, and I used hackathons as ways to go and grow a lot of people really quickly to trust me. I was able to go and win different things and top different things that help grow my reliability. And a lot of people right now actually come to me via Facebook. They don't come to me via LinkedIn. They don't come to me via other stuff. I've gotten investors from LinkedIn, but not from Facebook. I honestly think I know you know yourself way better than I do. So I'm gonna just explain it a little bit. But if you know how you are, if you know that you're like, hey, I really want to be a consultant, I really want to be whatever you want to be, and you can understand that, you then need to go and understand your ICP, your ideal customer profile. The reason why is if you go to a bunch of startups and tell them like, hey, I can go and build this, none of them are going to care because they're also vibe coders just like me and you. But if you went to a different industry that was not like that, let's say you went to like the entertainment industry or like VR gaming or like other stuff, you can go and basically almost like bully your way in because other people can't do what you do. And you just all of a sudden are like a magic leprechaun that can do whatever they want. That's how I did it. And I know it doesn't work for everybody, but I think if you can identify your ICP and you can go to them and tell them like, hey, let's talk. And if you find out like, hey, this, Jim, Albert spends $200,000 a month and stuff that he doesn't need to. If I know it's costing him X amount of dollars, I can come to Albert and be like, hey, Albert, I know you're paying $200,000 a month. I think it's really garbage. How about this? I'm going to make you something better. I'm going to make it better. It's going to be in X amount of time. And by the time we're done, you're going to pay me $50,000 because we're going to be already saving you $150,000 every month. That's an easy sell because you know what they're doing, you know their pain point, and you know how to sell at that point because you know what you're trying to do. So does that make sense? Fantastic. Cool. All right. So let's see. Shop now. It does not work. Fantastic. Anybody else? Cool. I think we got enough questions. We got one more question. All right.
Just have a comment actually.
Sure.
It's for people who are like feeling how to get into like coding and develop products. A lot of times you don't have to know what exactly you're working towards as long as you work towards it. And then when you know talk to people around you, you'll start to find that like avenues open up. And a lot of people will be curious about what you're doing. Most of them will be like, you don't care. But the people who are really interested in what you're doing, they'll like just start talking to you. And when you start talking to them about like your problem, you will find that like help is from somewhere. And then you can use that help that, you know, to do towards solving your problems that you're facing in the whiteboard, you know, in the whiteboarding effort. Like for example, cybersecurity, like you can either get the answer from ChatGPT or you can get the answer from talking to people at other hackathons. And that's how I've like met a lot of people at hackathons where I won whiteboarding sessions and met like product developers, coders who are looking to, you know, looking for gigs just like, you know, Rennie was like 2 years ago or something. Met people who are like cybersecurity experts, people who are designers. And a lot of times when you start working towards something, it's like you're trying to push stone. Most people come at you a big stone. Most people come look at you, but people will be like, okay, I can like, you know, I've done part of this in the past, like speaking with stone, I've done like, you know, putting it there. And they start giving you solutions that suddenly you find that like the ball is rolling sooner than you think.
I agree with everything he just said. Listen to that, man. All right.
Let's give it up for Renee.
Thank you.
This is the one. So okay. Let's do this one. There we go. I think they all go to the same place. All right. So for just 5 more minutes, I want to introduce Garrett Rice, who is with Callings AI, one of our sponsors. And he's going to give you a quick demo of Callings, and I'll let him describe it, but it is an amazing AI-powered job platform. So if you don't want to have to worry about how to use AI for your job, you can do it here in Callings. I think we're logged in, so hopefully it's good to go. Like,
can you guys hear me okay? Wow, that's loud. I'm going to struggle to match Renee's energy. I don't know what's mixed into the marijuana that he's smoking that he talked about, but there's some kind of stimulant in there. Really impressive. I love that presentation. So I won't take too much of your time. You guys have been sitting for a while. Many of you are job seekers, yes? So what Albert showed you, you guys should really study that. You should dive in on AI. The guy's an expert. He knows how to help you. I want to supplement what he said with a platform that we provided that you guys can look at that can also help you get a job, and that's callings.ai. And what we've done is we've built an AI-powered total job hunt platform to try and manage what is increasingly a very complicated set of workflows to actually go through the process of seeking a job. And our platform is all about the workflow. And what we've done is when you create an account and you upload confidentially your resume or your LinkedIn profile for us, we build our platform around your background, and we use AI, in many cases, some of the same technologies that Albert showed, to work that workflow for you because it is a sales process. Unfortunately, in the modern workflow, here's some realities about the modern job hunt. You're going to need to apply to at least 50 jobs, if not hundreds of jobs. Sorry, I don't want to be the bearer of that. I wish you could apply to one and get it, but I think you already know that that's not the case. You need to customize for every role because the company is using the job post to look at your resume, and if it's not a match, you're out. You'll never be seen by a human being. Over 75% of job applications are reviewed and rejected by ATS systems without human intervention. That's just a fact. So how do you do this? You spend the time, and on average, a job seeker spends 10 hours a week looking for a job, and you find jobs that match you. You apply to the jobs, then you do the thing that will actually get you jobs. 70% of all successful job hunts include networking. So you have to do that. And you need to prepare and tell your story and express your personal brand. Our platform is built around that entire workflow. Let me show you what I mean. So, and I don't have enough time to go through all of it, but I'll show you some of the key characteristics. What you're looking at here is our tracker. This is the jobs that we've found for Eric's. You know, and I appreciate the fact that this is a live event. This is his resume that he uploaded. So these are jobs matching him. So if you click on this, find matching jobs, what we've done is use his resume and gone out and searched among millions of jobs to find jobs he's qualified for. If you put your resume in, you'll get those. We'll have 40 times more job inventory within the next month and a half than we have now. That's a big focus of ours. So we are going to bring you great job opportunities. We provide a match score. This is our best estimate of how well your resume is going to do against the applicant tracking software that's evaluating you. And also, it's a pretty good simulation of how closely you match the job. Now, we have other tools that you can use where you can, through a Socratic process, we'll ask you questions and help suss out what you really want, and we'll help you create an ideal job report and your personal branding for you using AI. But at the face of it, with his resume, these jobs are valuable to him. Senior Director of Marketing, Director of Enterprise Sales, Senior Partner and Director of Sales, and these are the match scores. We provide a detailed report on each of these jobs and how closely you match, where you don't match, and I'll show you that. So I'm going to just add one of these jobs here. And then let's see if I go in, actually, I'll just pick one that he's already got. And here's a job post that the company posted, and we pull out the relevant things like skills that you're going to need. Here's the job report. This is a popular feature on our platform. This is the high level. Here's the pros and cons of his candidacy and the conclusion, and then details. Oh, it's not generated. We got to get you a subscription, Eric. You're on the free account? Okay. That might actually limit my ability to show you the features, but what we do is you can go through, prepare your candidacy this way. We will then help you do some of the steps of customizing your resume. We will draft changes for your resume that you need to approve. We don't believe in the AI, send it to AI, it does it and sends it off without your review. I think Irene mentioned earlier that people can spot it if it's too AI. We're very careful about that. We only use the things that are actually in your resume. We're very careful about not telling lies about you. But we quickly allow you to make customizations that reflect the job post and the company you're applying to. We also draft a cover letter. All of it has a full editing system in it that you can go in and type and make the changes directly in the changed resume and cover letter. And then you apply. Once you've applied, we go out to LinkedIn based on that job and find the 5 to 7 people that are closest to that role. They're in the same team, they're the hiring manager, the recruiter, and then we draft outreach message and we give you a button where you can click it and send the message out, because networking is not about that first message. Everybody obsesses about it, and I used to spend half a day like, what should I say in this email? They're all relatively the same. Hey, I'm interested in this job. I'd really like to talk to you. The key is volume. You need to reach out to 3 to 5 to 7 people for every role that you're pursuing, because the key is your resume is in the system. The ATS system is going to do what it does. If you can find somebody in that company that likes you and they carry your resume to that hiring manager, he will go into the ATS system and put you in the interview pile. And the goal of applying is not to get the job. The goal of applying is to get the interview. And then when you go into the interview, that's the next goal, is to try and win them over. And so our platform manages the creation of these custom resumes and cover letters with your participation. We find the networking contacts for you. And then if you get the interview, we provide a detailed report for that job so that you know and are prepared when you go into the interview. We also allow you to store all your notes. Our tracker tracks everything in one place. The average job seeker creates their own spreadsheet. I don't know if you guys are doing that, but we felt that was kind of crazy in the modern world. So we built a total CRM in our platform. It's all in one place. We also have other things. We have live coaching seminars. Albert has done one for us. Hope to do another with him. We know that it's a multidimensional thing when you go on a job hunt. It's actually it's a job. It's a job nobody wants, but it's a job. So so that's what our platform is trying to break down and do this whole workflow for you and provide you the pieces. There's more. I don't have time to cover it, but those are the high level things. We're shipping new features every month. And our goal is to really encompass this whole thing so you have a home to live in and to go about your job hunt. You can wake up every day understanding what you're supposed to do and taking those actions, because at the end of the day, and I truly believe this, it's a sales process. And you have to start with a funnel. The top of the funnel are your prospects. The middle of the funnel is the work that you've done to reach out to them. And then if they respond to you, you try and close the deal. You know, and I'm sad to say that. I wish it didn't work that way, but AI is only making it harder. And so you have to work smart through these different steps. And then, of course, be yourself and tell your story and express your personal brand, because that's actually what they're looking for. In spite of all this AI stuff, when I hear recruiters and HR professionals talk, what they tell me is, yeah, we're getting 1,000 resumes that perfectly match the job, but none of them are really great people. And so at the end of the interview process, AI is doing all the middle part, but at the end, it's still that human dynamic, and that's what you're there for. Let AI do the pieces that are obvious, and you're the one that actually has to win them over. So thank you so much. I'm sorry to keep you in your seats this late. If you want to use callings.ai, the first month is free. All you have to do is callings.ai/Albert, and we'll give you the first 30 days for free. Finding jobs and tracking jobs are free always. If we have to hit the AI servers, we need to charge you so that we can pay our bills and I can send my kids to college. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Garrett. And that concludes our program for the evening. Thank you all for coming out, being a part of Career Transition Conference #3. We have until 9 o'clock in this room and in the adjacent room for networking. I encourage all of you to stay and hand out business cards and LinkedIn profiles to one another. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hope to see you at our next conference.